And we're back.
Episode 2.
I know, finally.
Wait, finally. We've been waiting a week.
It's been a week, Chris. It's been a week.
It's been seasons of recapping Legends of Tomorrow.
That's it.
So we're playing catch up, so it's
Yeah.
doesn't feel like a
you
week.
guys are playing catch
Yeah,
up.
it's
I'm
like
all caught up.
Yeah.
So, welcome to episode 2. I'm Dan with Chris and Sonig, Vigilante-Verse, and there's nothing better than this intro we have here, I still think.
I mean, who doesn't love this intro? It's amazing.
It's great,
But
great writing.
if you guys listened to our first episode, thank you so much. We didn't get any feedback, but that's okay. It's only episode 1.
Yeah, I got feedback from people I know personally that
Yeah,
liked
I mean,
it.
I got
Yeah.
some from friends and stuff, but like not written feedback.
No written feedback. We'd
Which is
like
totally
some
fine.
That's true.
Twitter questions or something like that at some point.
Yeah, if we
That'd
had a
be cool.
Twitter page yet. But we don't.
we might do that at some point, though.
We're newbies,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's fine.
Can I actually do a fun question I thought of? I should have told
Sure.
you guys before we started the show.
Yeah,
but
way to start this one, Dan. Go ahead.
So I was thinking about this because I'm catching up on Supergirl. So where would you guys rather work? Would it be Catco, Star Labs, the mayor, or your job is to keep track of time like Legends does? Or a principal like Black Lightning is?
Or principal.
Or a principal.
Or a principal.
I have my answer. That's why I thought the questions.
First of all, you got to take Legends out of it because it's not technically like a corporate job.
Right.
If you think of all the other ones, they're kind of corporate.
They're right. Right. That I just threw Legends in there because it's like.
All right, well,
technically...
let's put Legends aside.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
First of all, what would your answer be, Dan?
My answer would be, as you know, I'm catching up on Supergirl. It would easily be Catco, actually.
Because you don't have
Catco,
to
Dan.
work. Nobody works. At that.
Nobody
I've
works.
never seen anybody do any work except for Miss
first
Tessmacher.
season. First season.
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
Like,
Well,
went
that
on.
maybe that's why, because
Oh, yeah,
I'm
there's real
I'm
reporting
on
going
the
on. Yeah.
almost done with the first season.
Yeah,
But
spoiler, they don't work a lot.
I would say Catco only because I love Cat Grant, the character, so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens.
Don't
what
get too
turns out.
attached.
Yeah, don't
But
get too
yeah.
attached.
But that's what I would say.
Okay. I think mine's a toss-up between, yes, Catco and as well as Star Labs. Star Labs, I think you have more freedom to do whatever you want.
Or SCPD, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's-
yeah.
that's
I would love to work
technically-
for the police department. I
'cause
think that
that's-
would be
yeah.
cool.
Star Labs is closed.
Technically, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a museum. They never really followed up on
Yeah,
that,
remember
though.
HR was doing something
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, but that like failed.
It
Yeah,
failed
that didn't-
miserably.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then I guess it would be SCPD then. you'd
Yeah,
have
so
to
then
say.
probably SCPD.
Yeah.
I mean, Catco is awesome, but like
Yeah.
Chris
Honestly,
said, you
thinking
don't
about
get
it-
any work done.
Thinking about it, I'd probably pick Catco because they don't do anything.
Yeah, if
that's
you're-
probably
yeah,
why
that's
I
your
picked
lazy
Catco.
way out.
And if you're at SCPD, your chances of dying are really high.
Yeah,
there's
they,
a vigilante
Well,
attack every
Unless you have
other-
the Flash in your pocket, which is
Yeah, but he doesn't get there fast enough to save the
No,
red
no,
shirts
that's-
like the
that's
people that
true.
just get knocked out. Yeah.
yeah. And then I was thinking about Oliver Queen's role in being the mayor. I'm like, that's too much responsibility.
Yeah, way
I'm
too
all
much.
set with that.
And then same with the principal. I couldn't do that.
I
There's
mean,
so much.
does it look that hard? No offense to any principals out there, but
the principal that he is with all
Well,
that
yeah, in the
gang stuff,
community,
I
yeah.
couldn't do that.
So you talking about the principal not working at the school?
What do you mean?
You were talking about the jobs, like
No, but like
you'd-
I'm
you talk
saying,
about you'd rather be
you would
mayor
have
or-
Jefferson from Black Lightning, his job, that
Oh,
principal
okay.
in
No, I'd
that
hate that.
city.
No, it'd
That's
be
what I'm
terrible.
saying.
Like,
Yeah,
That'd
that's
be
what
hard.
he's getting
terrible.
at.
It'd be terrible. No.
like you
Yeah.
take the place of.
Oh, okay. No, I would.
Car-
Catco's
Kara.
apparently the easiest job. Then
Yeah.
I don't know why I. All right, stupid
Nice-
question.
nice
guys.
career
I'm
move.
so-
No, it's not a bad question. I
It's
mean,
not a bad question, but thanks, Dan, for that.
Yeah, no problem.
We did we do well?
I think you guys did fine.
Okay,
I mean, you kind of shut me down. I thought I was doing something productive at Catco, but then.
that's
it.
all right. You're
no, you are. I
secret.
forget you're in season 1, so as it goes on.
Yeah, as it goes on, you'll
That's
figure
why
out what
I like-
happens.
But that's a big part of the first season. It's
Right.
like, oh, like
And that's
True.
why last week, because I listened to our podcast, when you said like, "Oh, I missed the Catco stuff," and I was like, "Oh man,"
Yeah.
because I kind of like.
yeah,
it
we
in
don't want to
season
bum you
one.
out too much.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
Spoiler
Well,
alerts,
you guys go talk about Supergirl.
Yeah.
Right now.
Oh yeah, so
Let's get
Chris
into
and I
that.
will talk about this
Yeah,
recent
go
episode
ahead.
of Supergirl since Dan is not caught
I know
up yet.
you'll never believe what happens, Dan.
I actually really like this episode. I love bringing old villains back in.
Yeah.
Finally having the Luthers together
Yeah,
again.
Luther's as as the villains. That is fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also Rain kind of not knowing what the hell is going on.
You know, I liked it the fact that she's going to her own friends and being like, "What's going on?" It's, in most seasons they would just kind of ignore that, and you know, she would be gone and they wouldn't figure out that she's the bad person. But it's kind of interesting because I think they're going to figure it out in the next episode or two. Like, oh, you're missing time because
I mean, I hope so.
you're evil and you're doing all these things and everything. But yeah, I liked it too. I kind of like the like touching on the Luther stuff. I like Edge.
Edge is anytime Edge is just coming back because there's so much rivalry between him and Lena Luthor. It's just such a good chemistry.
Oh yeah. In the first 5 minutes of the episode, Edge is like trying to get out of his car, like Goodfellas style.
That was
like,
a great
jumping
opening
out.
scene.
Oh, it was, and it was done really well, and it was kind of funny, and the fact that he showed up and was like, you tried to kill me and everything, but
she's like, well, yes and no. You
Yeah.
kind of try to kill me too. Well, that whole poisoning scene was like intense.
yeah, that was pretty cool too. And I didn't catch how they fixed her. Kara made her cold.
Yeah,
like, blew on her
yeah,
and-
she blew cold because she was like needed to be in hypothermia in order to not get the poison in her bloodstream.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
It's like
it's like
hacking,
the scientific way of doing things,
That's
which
like,
I'm like, nope.
hacking the liquid last week on
Oh,
Flash.
yeah. Like, what the hell's going on here?
yeah.
No, but it was. I think it was a great episode, and the Luthors, of course, coming back, Edge being in it again, and then the whole thing with Kara flying off with not as Supergirl, but as Kara Danvers. I was like, oh crap, that's
nobody
really happening.
has a camera. Nobody
right? Like Superman always has a camera following him somewhere.
Oh, it's crazy. And like and then Lena wakes up. She's like, I had a dream that you were flying me around. It's like, oh no, like of course not.
It's like no, why wouldn't you put two and two together? Yeah.
Every time, I mean, just in the last week, like Kara's gone for 3 weeks, and so is Supergirl. It's like
right.
the two
I
kind of
feel like
come
she
together.
kind of knows, but like she's not saying anything really.
You think
just
so?
like Cat
Yeah.
Grant, just like spoiler alert, Dan. Just like Cat Grant knew.
Yeah.
She like put two and two together and was like, oh, you are.
Yeah,
Supergirl.
I always had the feeling that Cat Grant knew.
Yeah, I mean,
they
but
were
Cat
kinda
Grant's
hinting
in
at
like
it.
her own league.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
is awesome because she's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that what else happened in that episode? There was
The
so much going on.
The Lexo suit and
Yes,
the drone
Lexo
attack and
suit.
stuff
oh my
like
God,
that.
that was crazy.
The Lexo suit was pretty cool. I never thought it was going to be Mama Luthor wearing it, but it was cool to see it. It wasn't as I mean, the Lexo suit's like a big bulky thing, with the staff and everything. I was kind of looking for some of that, but it was still cool to see it, and I like that they kind of keep some of those characters alive. Like you said, they don't just appear in the first season, the second season, and then disappear. Like
Right.
they're back and they harken back to it. And of course, Edge. I don't know
Brilliant.
what he's charged with and how that's going to get prosecuted or whatever, but I think he'll be back.
He'll
I don't
definitely
think
be
it's
back.
the
Like
end of
I don't
Edge.
know what's going on. He's always when he's in an episode, he's like in an episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
You
can't.
can't not have
don't
him in
miss
the
him.
entire thing because
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
just so good.
No, he's a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun, and the rivalry between them is just great.
Yeah.
And the Guardian comes back.
Yeah, the Guardian and the
He's
World
been
Killers.
MIA. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as Lena got threatened, the Guardian's gonna step
Oh,
up.
of
and,
course. With
go
his
mess
like
with him.
raspy, deep voice.
I know.
It's pretty funny, and I'm just like, okay.
And his costume always looks a little goofy
It
to
looks-
me. So like
this
Sir
is
Gawain.
but this is like weird for me to say, but I feel like it's so heavy.
Yeah.
You know, like how do you change in and out of that? And like go through my head. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, that's so heavy. I could never.
That's a
do
good
that.
point. I don't know. And he shows up later, just like in a suit, like 2 minutes later. But
Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna start talking about that, then
I know.
we got problems with the whole universe. But
Well, that's true, but at the
Yeah.
same time, that's like the things that I think about. I was like, oh shit, that thing's heavy.
yeah, and plus, like I said, we had the World Killers, which we know now that it's like the Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Yep.
I don't know how they're gonna really address a lot of that. I guess it's the main villains for the season.
Yeah, I'm guessing. I just
but
don't
they
know where
haven't-
they're going with that.
Yeah, they haven't touched on the other ones. All we really know about is Rain. And I like the fact that they were talking about. We talked about it last week on the episode with Livewire, how Rain just had these powers that I thought she was Kryptonian, but she was able
she
to
has,
have
like,
these
some
powers
sort
in the
of-
Red Sun,
Yeah.
And Mon-El this week was like, oh no, like she's not really just.
I love how
Kryptonian,
Mon-El
like-
knew that, and he's just like, oh yeah, by the way,
Yeah,
she's got
yeah.
other powers.
Where was Mon-El's wife this episode?
That's what I was just gonna say. I was like, thank God she wasn't in it.
I
But
know,
I
she
feel
was-
bad. Like,
No, I thought of you when I was watching it, and I was like, oh, like Sony's gonna be pissed off when this girl shows up, but she just
but she
never
didn't,
showed up.
and I was
Yeah.
so excited because like Kara and Mon-El had like a little thing at the end, and I was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, just get back together.
That's right.
Like, leave your wife.
CW came in and
I'm
was just
so
like,
bad.
have a
I'm like, leave your
relationship
wife.
with- I know. Well, that's happening. Like I said, she's gonna
Oh,
die.
yeah. I mean, it's
100% she
CW.
will die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was Supergirl. Like I said, it was actually a pretty decent episode.
Yep. I don't think we missed anything. I think we covered pretty much everything on Supergirl.
Yeah, they're moving quickly, and I think this episode didn't really deal with a lot of Rain or the main villains too much. Like
No,
I said,
it dealt with more of like the girl underneath Rain, which I thought, yeah, which I thought was cool. Like the whole MRI and like the whole.
Yeah, like I said, that's cool because in a lot of these shows, you know, like there's kind of plot force. They never really know who the bad guy is or this and that just because it's convenient for the show to tell a story. But with Rain, she's actually trying to figure it out, and I love that stuff.
I
like,
do too.
Like you have a problem and you address it immediately, like in these shows. Like that's a lot of fun to see.
Yeah,
so.
And I do have to point one thing out, and I think it's awesome that they always spend time like in a group, or if Alex goes with Kara somewhere, it's always in Kara's loft. Do you notice that?
Yeah. She's got a nice loft.
And I'm like baffled because I'm like, how the hell does she afford that loft as a reporter? Where she wasn't even a reporter when she started.
They haven't talked about that, have they? It's like I know on Friends, they like explain that away, like, oh, this is a rent-controlled apartment. That's how we live. Like,
right.
You know, Kings in downtown Manhattan. That's like a
but
whole
like,
thing.
if you're still watching Supergirl, so you see Kara's loft like all the time, or maybe you haven't if you're not on season 2.
No, it's there.
Is that her loft?
Her apartment.
That's like her apartment, but
her
it's
apartment,
technically a loft because it's like massive and it's got
Oh, okay, yeah.
like a beautiful kitchen.
Does
and
Alex?
like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember, but does Alex live with Kara in season 1? Like, 'cause she's always
no,
there.
she's just always there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think Alex. It's not addressed that she has like her own apartment until season 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Because you see, we were just
You
in
see
Alex's apartment last episode.
Yeah, last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Kara always comes back to her apartment and Alex is always there, and I'm like, what's going on here?
Sisters
Yeah,
are close.
sisters. But wait till
Sisters.
you see Monel going back and forth to her apartment.
Oh.
It's just like I know.
wait till-
Spoiler.
Oh.
Spoiler. Wait. No, but it's like it's so. I don't know. It's a beautiful loft, and I'm like, oh, I wish I kind of had that.
There's always the apartments, the house.
I know, that's-
Oliver's house that turned into like Felicity's when they broke up. But like,
Oh, that like
that
humongous.
Talk about a loft. Yeah, that's a
Right?
nice one.
I'm like,
how does they? I still.
well, I mean, they are
no, but
billionaires.
that makes sense, yeah,
but-
because he's rich.
yeah.
Oliver right now though. I mean, he's like he's the
Oh
mayor.
yeah.
But
Yeah, he still
Oh,
has.
definitely,
And
yeah.
he's
oh
in
yeah,
like
he probably gets
yeah.
money.
He's got that
from,
queen money.
Right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Let's talk about apartments, guys.
Let's say,
No, I'm so
Apartments
used
and
to,
I
lofts.
look at some of these apartments and I'm like, this is nuts.
I
how-
agree.
No,
but-
they just don't exist.
you see it in every episode just because they want to have a nice location to use. I mean,
Yeah.
in movies and everything, people always have the most beautiful
Oh, of course.
kitchens
Right,
and gardens and everything. It's just that's just
I
how
just
it is.
the Oliver's house, like they say it's like an
You're talking about his apartment.
His
Is it
apartment or
an
his house where
Yeah,
his
because
family
they get
is.
the mansion house as well.
No, but like, what's that apartment? It's 2 floors. It's like a loft.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
all the glass on the outside.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
he
a
still
loft.
lives. Is that technically that?
I think that's
a
where
huge
Thea
loft.
lives right now. Back.
Is that what it
Oh,
is?
I don't know. Actually, I don't even know if that's being occupied anymore.
We need to look up the real estate of these characters because
We need to look up
We need
their
to-
housing.
Yeah, Thea should be there. They haven't showed her. I don't know who's in there now.
Thea's. All right,
Somebody's
we'll
dog
get to
sitting.
Arrow. but
We'll figure
Yeah.
that out.
Well-
So yeah, there's your recap on Supergirl. If we
Woo.
missed anything, please let us know because we have so many things going on in our brain right now about these
with
shows.
these apartments and
I know. I'm just like,
the
oh,
rent they pay.
yeah, like nothing. Rent control, people.
When you live in the city, you start looking at that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, what's
Right,
the
that's what I'm
HOA
saying,
fee
like-
And they're based in California, so I'm like, do you know how much rent is in California? Okay.
Right, that's true.
But anyway, so moving on to The Flash. This
That's
was
right.
a funny episode.
Oh my
I must
God.
say, like
Ralph and Cisco getting shrunk was hilarious.
they were amazing together. I gotta. Those are the dynamic between them two.
It was
Yeah,
so funny.
Flash does comedy so well.
Oh,
Yeah.
so well.
They really
It
do.
doesn't because it doesn't overpower the show,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
but when it happens, it's hilarious.
Yeah, and Cisco's
Cisco's
so good in any of that
Cisco's
stuff. He's-
honestly, he might be my favorite character
Yeah,
of the show
by far.
because
Yeah.
he's the good guy. He's funny. He makes all the the names. Oh, can we talk about how Iris? This was just a
Oh,
little
geez.
thing. Iris
You
during
love Iris, Dan.
I love Iris.
This annoyed me so much. How she goes. I guess it's more on the writers, but when they find out that Rundeen guy, the bad guy, the balls, where
Yeah,
he,
yeah.
Yeah,
he
the
can
one
shrink,
that
yeah.
one that Honey I Shrunk Them. Yes.
Yeah, they find out his name, and then Iris is like, "Why does every bad guy have a name that's like from comic books.
Oh,
And
I thought that was hilarious.
I was like, that was too on the nose.
Oh,
for
but I
me.
thought that was
Oh,
funny.
yeah. If
because-
any other character said that, you would
Oh,
love that
come
line.
on!
then.
I don't
Yeah.
hate her that much. It's-
No,
yeah.
but that was a good quote because they're technically a comic book show.
I know
so
that's
when
why
you
I thought
say
it was way
it's
too
like,
on the nose.
No,
I was like, come
I
on.
thought
I thought it was funny. Yeah, me too.
We disagree with you, Dan.
I like
I'm so
that guy,
sorry.
that bad guy you played with Jason Voorhees in the remake. As soon as I saw him, I was like, I know this guy someplace. And
Oh, okay.
Oh.
he had like that giant build. That
He
looked
did
like
a
he'd
pretty
be
good job,
then.
though.
Yeah, he was good. Actually, I thought it was really cool. Like he wasn't just a lot of these villains of the week are just kind of weak.
Yeah.
They're not interesting. But when they came in looking at all of his stuff and he was shrinking
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
That was pretty
That
cool.
was pretty
oh,
cool.
yeah. When you go into his apartment,
I know, yeah.
you see all
It's
the
all
like
nice
figurines and all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cars that are actually real size.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it
Yeah,
was
that
pretty-
was cool.
That
like
was
a
cool.
menagerie
He puts
of
them
all
in
his,
his
collectibles.
pocket.
Yeah.
And he,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Or like
throws
when
them,
Cisco's like, "Oh, this is a replica of that plane
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
that he was
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
at," and the guy was like, "Oh no, it's real." Like
That was cool too. He had a gun on the table that was just always ready to go. But
Yep.
he had
Yeah,
the
but it
enlarged.
was-
Oh,
right.
that was really cool.
Yeah. It
was
That's a good
pretty
idea.
cool.
Yeah.
So
But also, who just walks into somebody's apartment like that? Like, I'd be like, "What are you doing?" Like,
Yeah,
he
I'd
opens
be
the
like,
door and you're like,
"Hi?"
"Whoa, what's that on your table over there?" I'd be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
What are you doing?
He didn't even ask if Cisco was just like, oh, let me just walk in.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that was.
Did
that was
I don't
weird.
think anyone like held up a badge or anything, right?
No, nothing. They just.
No, they
They
said.
said,
kinda-
"Are you so and so?" And he's like,
Because it was with
yeah.
what? It was Joe and Cisco.
Cisco,
yeah, yeah.
And then he was like, yeah, that's me. And then Cisco saw the thing on the table. He's like, I'm just gonna walk in.
Yeah, I would have been like, "Get the hell out of my place! Like,
That's
who
true.
are you? Do you have a warrant?"
So.
Yeah.
Speaking of how much I love Iris,
Oh, boy.
So at the beginning, you see Harry kind of take charge a little. He's like, "Guys, we need to get together. Like, we're not doing anything about DeVoe and stuff." I was like,
Yeah.
"Yes,
Yeah.
Harry's taking charge.
Yeah.
This is great." And you see that throughout the episode, which is obviously what I wanted. I want him to be the leader and stuff.
I mean,
but,
he belongs the hero. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
But he was also kind of
the head-
frustrated because there's nothing they can do at the
Right.
moment. You know,
Right.
like that was
Right.
kind of I don't want to say the theme of the episode, but it was like, we're ready to do something, but the only
Yeah.
thing Barry wants us to do, which HR or whatever you want
Harry,
to call
yeah.
him, Wells, agrees with, is like, Barry hasn't asked us to do one thing, and the one thing he's asked us to do is to help somebody else.
yeah.
So I thought that was
which
kind of a
is
nice.
typical Barry because he'd rather help someone else than
Yeah,
himself.
yeah.
Which covered this whole episode because
Yeah.
his
Yeah, it was all
I
about-
guess it's his cellmate or his next door neighbor
Yeah,
in
his
the
next
cell.
door neighbor. Yeah.
Yeah,
Prison
the guy,
mate.
Big
Prison
Sir,
mate, yeah.
Big Sir, they call the guy that Barry wanted
He's
to
good.
get out.
Like I
That-
said, I
he
saw
was-
that guy and
he
thought
was-
he wasn't going to be a decent actor, but he's been really good.
He's
Yeah,
been
he's
in other
pretty
stuff
good.
too. I think he was in the Adam Sandler's Longest Yard.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep,
I
yep.
think that's where
He was a
remember
wrestler
him.
too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't tell
I
you
mean,
who he
you
was
could
or
tell by
anything,
the
but
build of him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was-
yeah,
he's
his
big guy.
neck's the size of my body.
Another big thing we got to talk about is Cecile getting those powers.
First of all,
Latency, dark matter brought on by the pregnancy, giving her
Right?
telepathy. Is that what
I
it was?
knew-
yeah, something
I
weird
knew
like that.
when that happened. I was like, Chris is gonna love this.
Oh.
It's
No,
just like
you-
the hacking of the liquid last week.
Seriously, do
The
you know
liquid
my
hack was
reaction?
weird.
I was literally watching that scene and I was like, "You have got to be effing kidding me!
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Well,
why of all people? Because she's pregnant now, she has to have
Yeah,
like
no.
a power."
First 5 minutes of the episode too, and I was
Yeah.
like, this
Yeah.
can't be what this episode's about.
And I immediately knew it was gonna piss off Joe. I was like, this is not gonna go well for Joe.
How could you deal with that? Somebody knowing you're
Oh,
like
yeah.
you aren't who you think. You aren't your thoughts. It's like what you say and what you gather out of your
Right.
head. If
Right.
you really thought about somebody reading your thoughts, like
It's scary.
it would
Well, that's
be
why.
impossible.
Who said it? Was it Caitlin that was like, stop trying to see what Joe thinks, try to see what he feels.
Yeah,
forget
Caitlin
who-
always
was that
has
Caitlin?
something. It was either
Ah,
Caitlin or
Iris.
Iris. It might have been
Iris.
Iris.
That was
Might have been
Iris.
Iris,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was Iris.
Iris just
Love
has her
Iris.
finger on
Iris
the
is
pulse.
great.
Yeah.
Well, that's because she was like reading her mind,
Yeah.
like Iris's mind, and she was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you guys having marital problems?" That part was so
That was
stupid.
so. He's
Oh
like,
my
no,
God.
everything's good, as you can
Yeah,
see.
especially in the
Oh my
bedroom,
God,
yeah.
Stop.
But also it was Wells too, where Wells was thinking of something rotten, something dirty. Because
Oh,
as
yeah,
soon
that's
as she
right.
met him,
Oh
he-
yeah. She was like,
she's
"Oh,
like, whoa."
oh, okay."
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I feel like that's what you have to do if someone's
Exactly,
a mind
yeah.
reader. Like, you don't want them to know your whole business.
Right,
And then
right.
when Joe
Or
goes,
like a pink elephant.
pink elephant.
Big
Yeah,
elephant.
yeah.
Oh my god, that
I
was
know.
Pink
hilarious.
elephant,
Pink
pink
elephant.
That was a
pink
good idea.
I
elephant.
was like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we obviously know that there's no way that has to do with the baby, right? There's no way that actually has to do. I
Oh,
feel
really?
like it's DeVoe. I feel like, well, because think about it. DeVoe got those mind reading powers, so he probably
Yeah, but
found
he was
some
blasted
way.
by the particle accelerator.
Right.
So
I think it's the baby.
I really don't
I think
it's.
I think it's the
Well,
baby
no,
because
they're not
they
even
don't want to
saying-
keep her with those powers. I think it'll be when she has the baby, she'll go back to normal.
Yeah, but they're not even saying it's the baby. They're saying that somehow she got hit by the dark matter from, what are we, season
Way
4?
back
Like
when?
4 years ago, and it only appears now because she's having the baby.
Yeah,
That's
but
like that's what I'm saying. I feel like
Speed
somehow
Did the
Is,
Speed Force?
this another flashpoint? Like,
Yeah.
when in doubt, Speed Force.
yeah, but
That's
then
the
if you
answer.
think about it, everyone who is in the particle accelerator should have a power, and not like some of them don't. So why would
Yeah, but was she? They didn't even say like, was she really even hit by it? Like they didn't even like
They didn't
address
even,
that.
no, they
either.
didn't address.
They just
that.
said she must have been. I don't mean like I said, she wasn't around when that stuff was
Yeah.
going on in the show. So,
But immediately when she got those powers, I was like, this is DeVoe. It has to be.
so you
The
think
body
DeVoe's setting her? What do you think, setting
somehow-
her up or somehow?
somehow he
Yeah, but why
and,
that power?
and the evil girl. Well, because that's the power he took over from that guy's body. Remember, like he took over that guy's
True.
body,
True, yeah.
and he's like, now I have
True.
the.
He's
somehow
trying to make Joe miserable.
Somehow somehow that guy DeVoe and the evil woman, whatever I forget her
the
name.
wife.
Yeah,
wife,
the
yeah.
evil woman.
Is she evil?
They probably found some sort of machine to transmit to Cecile, because now they're probably trying to get info from her on like Team Flash and stuff, because they destroyed the camera in Star Labs. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that could be. I honestly
know?
hadn't thought of that, but yeah, I don't know.
That's
I thought
immediately.
it was a weird twist. I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
it did come out of left field. So if it is some kind of DeVoe thing, that would make
Yeah.
sense.
It would make
And-
sense, but I don't know
'Cause
if
I-
it was. I
yeah,
don't know.
I didn't- I just
can't
didn't- I didn't
really-
get
Well,
that
think about
sense, but yeah.
everything that's happened in the Flash. It all relates back to DeVoe. That's what Harry
Right,
keeps
that's
saying.
what- yeah, that
That's
was
why.
smart.
That's
I liked
why-
Terry talking about that because he's
Right.
like, what are the chances that this guy that we're looking for
Right.
happens to know Flash, and then the guy that we're also hunting down is the guy who should actually be in jail, instead
Right.
of the guy we're supposed to help. Like, yeah, that was very that stuff
that
I
was
kind of
weird.
liked.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
it
And
was
Barry
like-
gets in the same cell as his father.
I
That
mean,
might have been a
that
little
might have been a coincidence,
I know.
but-
yeah,
that
but
was just CW.
that was it.
Yeah, but
stuff.
then again, the warrant knew
Yeah, the Warren knew that.
he
Oh,
knew
yeah, right.
everything about his dad.
Right.
So,
Uh-huh.
which we will talk about him later at the
Right.
very end of that episode because I was like,
Yeah.
what the?
Well,
Yeah.
let's talk. Let's see. I have. Oh, okay. So Big Sir, the guy he was trying to, because he was innocent and whatever, he ends up. So this is a little fishy for me.
Okay.
He breaks him out at the end.
Yeah.
And brings him to that place in China. And he's
Right.
like, blah blah blah.
Which Barry
But-
is unbelievably fast. I don't know how it happened, but
Right,
Barry
he-
is
he
going
goes-
faster than
Seriously.
ever
He's like,
gone.
bam,
He's
gone.
ever gone, and he gets back before the camera comes up. But
Yeah.
my thing is, so we talked about this. He wants to get out of jail the right way, the legal way. Barry does.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
But he's fine with breaking someone else out. Like,
What do you say? There was a note at the end. Justice.
it's like sometimes you do get to.
You do get
the
that,
happy
yeah,
ending.
you do
did
get the
do
movie
happy
ending.
And
Yeah.
I think for his sake, he probably wasn't going to get the happy ending. So I think Barry was just like, you know what? I can do this one thing. And if I get in trouble for it, which he
Which
kinda
he did, which we'll
Uh,
get
we'll
to.
we'll talk about that later. I think he just had a soft spot for him because he's, with his
Right, I mean, he
dad
was
and like
wrongfully
everything.
No,
yeah.
You're right. When that first happened, I was like, oh, that's kind of surprising because Barry is trying to do things kind of the legal way.
Right,
Right,
that's what,
except
that's
for
what I'm saying.
that.
He's
Like,
trying to help that
obviously,
guy
that
out.
guy was innocent and he was
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
But when they found out they couldn't do it the legal way, Barry just broke him out.
And I
so
also,
it's like,
I also think it's because he got his hopes up at the end, and like, I didn't think
Right.
Barry was just like, I really don't want to disappoint him anymore.
Yeah, I know. It was very Shawshank. Like just
It
like,
was. It
Hope
was.
is a
It
dangerous
was so
thing.
good.
Hope,
is-
hope can kill a man.
yeah, he even says that. He's like, you get that from Shawshank.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so moving out of the prison and back to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids area.
Yeah.
Oh yes. What's up?
So, can I just mention the whole like Lego?
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. And it was great that they used the same
Oh, it
one
was
from
hila-
Sabotage.
From the-
From
Yeah,
Sabotage.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was hilarious.
That
I was
was
like,
really
what are the
funny.
odds of that happening? And of course, Ralph is like, what is this? I don't know what's happening. and
what's
Iris
this?
is like, yeah, that's where I was supposed to die. Like,
That was
And then when
funny.
Ralph had to go to the bathroom.
oh my
Yeah,
god.
that-
Oh, when he got stepped on, that was hilarious
stepped on.
by Caitlin.
And then Caitlin had to bring Ralph to the bathroom, and then Harry was like, "You should just peed in the bush." And I was like,
Yeah.
"The Lego bush."
Lego
Like,
bush,
what?
that's
No,
not
but that's what
real.
I thought. Like, well, he gets to the bathroom. Where does he go to
How
the
did,
bathroom?
I don't know how he does that.
He
no.
probably just like goes
In
over the toilet.
He's just-
But I mean, you could fall in. I mean, I thought he should
That's an
just go in the
experience.
bush.
That's
yeah.
like
I don't know.
that's-
We didn't go to that territory
There's Lego
with the bathroom.
toilets. You can get one of those. I don't know.
I know there
Lego
should have been
toilets.
one.
Yeah.
Those two with, I think, the perfect characters to. Obviously, it was bad
To
to get
shrink?
shrunk, but it was the perfect characters to get shrunk.
And
Because just-
like Cisco trying to vibe out of the Lego thing,
Yeah.
and then like hits
And then he
the.
like if Harry got shrunk, he would have just like been swearing like this is so stupid. But Cisco and Ralph just put a
and
little happy
Ralph,
thing on it.
I think Ralph is great. I like his
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
I truly do. And
Another
him,
character that like you get a little cringy at the beginning, but now it's like oh he's a good guy. And
yeah, now
stuff
that
like
he's
that.
on our side
Yeah.
and whatever not. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about this last week, but with Ralph, there's the same feeling. I thought I was going to hate him, introduce a new
Right.
person, but after an episode or two, I was like, yeah, he's kind of
He kind
what
of
the
fits
show
in.
needed a little
Yeah.
bit. Something,
Yeah,
something
not
to fill
another
in.
speedster hero with Barry.
I know,
It's
yeah.
like a different hero.
Which
you know?
it's sad for me to say, but I don't miss Wally.
Oh, I miss.
Well, no-
I like Wally, but you
I
can't.
I
he's
liked
so
I
redundant
liked
that
him,
they
but
don't
like
need him.
he had no purpose really.
Yeah.
Just Kid Flash in what like 2 episodes where he
Mhm.
actually
Well,
saved people.
The problem was, and I think the CW thought about this too, is because at one point they had Barry, obviously, Wally, and Jesse. They had 3
Mhm.
speedsters.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So if you see, I mean, at the beginning of this season and the end of last season, they tried to be like, okay, we have way too many, and it's getting like a little redundant.
Mhm.
So that's why they had Jesse go back to that Earth. Wally just went to a different city, which was like,
Well, that
Yeah.
surprised
Like-
me. I really thought that when Barry was out of commission and in jail now, the
They would
first thing
bring
you
him
do is
back.
call Wally and be like, "Hey,
Right.
Wally, like we really need you just as like backup, just
well,
in
isn't
case."
Wally technically back though? Didn't he say he
I-
came
Well,
Did he though? Like I don't
want to spoil anything, but I think Wally's on his way to a different show. In the
like his
CW
character
verse.
or like
Oh, no,
him
no.
as an actor.
back? I read something.
No,
on that,
his character. His character is going to be a
Oh.
part of one of the other shows.
Yeah, no, it's not
Chris
spoiling
gets all the
anything, 'cause-
spoiler
well,
alerts
it's not
on his
spoiling
phone.
because it
I-
hasn't
I-
happened yet.
Well, yeah, but
But
I think I
yeah,
kind of
there's-
read rumors, and I don't.
Yeah,
people-
right. There's rumors that
Ah, he'll
I'll
probably
ju-
join Legends.
That's what the rumor is that
Hey,
he'll join
that
Legends.
could
I mean
happen.
that works. But
That's what you were talking about, right? Because there's rumors that he'll go to
Hey,
Legends.
I think any of that could happen. Sure.
He's just
Sounds
covering
right to
it
me.
I
up.
feel like everyone just gravitates to Legends because you can do
Yeah.
whatever the hell you want.
Which
now.
I would
Yeah.
honestly, that'd be really cool to have a speedster on Legends that wasn't a bad guy.
Right.
You know.
Right. That's true.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's why I think, and I'm fine with having one speedster because it was. I think when they had the 3 of them, it was just
Yeah, it's
all
too
over
much.
The place.
It was way too much.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fine, and then we got to talk about the ending. Obviously, the little cliffhanger.
Yeah.
there.
Well, before we get to that, is there any other topic that we have to cover for the Flash?
Joe, Caitlin, go through every
Chris,
character.
anything?
I don't think so. I mean,
I
that's
think-
that's really the whole episode. Like I said, most of the episodes, Barry trying to help the prisoner, and then
Yeah.
shrinkage.
I mean,
Yeah,
a little
shrinkage.
thing I guess is that DeVoe really hasn't been doing.
Active.
He's been
Yeah,
on,
but
like, the
I
back
like
burner.
that. I mean, in a
I
way,
do
I like
too.
that because it's like if you have all DeVoe all the time, like
Right.
now he's on the back burner, but
Right, which is
he'll pop up. And like you said, maybe you're right. Maybe the stuff going on with Cecile is DeVoe
oh yeah,
at
I
work
think,
and
could be.
everything. That
I,
could
agree,
be.
I really do think that, and we'll get to it with Arrow because having the main villain in every episode does get a little
Yeah.
redundant,
Yeah.
which is what
We'll
kinda-
get to Arrow.
We'll get to Arrow.
We'll get
That's
to
another
Arrow.
thing, but
But please let's talk about that ending because when I watched, I literally had to rewind it again because I was like, "Are you kidding me? This
You
is
were
what
that
really
shocked? Yeah.
happened."
I was waiting for them to get caught. Honestly,
I was
Yeah.
waiting
I
for
was
it too.
waiting for them.
It-
to
No,
get
no, no.
caught.
I was waiting
Barry's
for
way
it too,
too
but like,
bold. Yeah.
I felt like Barry was a little bit smarter than that, knowing
Well, he saw the camera. He
Yeah, but
he
he
ran
didn't-
the
he didn't-
fastest he ever could.
he didn't see the second camera, which I didn't even like. No one
That
would
was
notice.
the smallest camera ever.
Smallest
though.
camera ever, but like when he came in and was just like, "Oh, I installed a camera there," and Barry's like, "Oh,
Oh,
shit."
you know who could have
Yeah.
saw that camera? It was Ralph and Cisco when they were shrunk.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally, totally.
Uh,
But just like now, he's in a metahuman prison.
Mhm.
Is that
yeah,
what?
so that guy knows he's the Flash now. And then when he was calling, I was like, oh, this guy works for DeVoe. And then it turns out to be Amunet.
Yeah.
And now it's like the
Yeah.
guy's gonna sell him to
The highest
Amunet.
bidder or something? I don't know
Because
how.
Amunet like buys metahumans apparently. That's what happened with Caitlin, and Caitlin ended up working for her.
Right,
Yeah.
So now,
but it like leaves you hanging because she's like, "Ooh, I wonder what the big prize is now."
but now is like, is this how Barry gets out? He gets sold to
Yeah,
this
which is
Amunet
weird. Like,
crazy
does that
lady?
mean he's
Probably.
out of?
Probably.
No, I still think Barry's gonna get legally cleared of everything, just because
He will
Yeah.
somehow.
What's
Yeah,
the
at
what's
some
the
point.
point of him being in jail and doing all this and trying to do it the
Right.
right way, unless he gets acquitted somehow or pardoned? But
Yeah, but that whole reaction when Barry was like, when he found out that he knew that he was
knew,
the
yeah.
Flash, he was just
Yeah.
like,
and I
okay.
welcome that stuff. Like I said, I don't like a lot of the secret identities. Not that Flash is gonna be like, I'm Barry Allen and everybody knows it in public, but you have so much trying to hide it that I kind of like I would love for one of these characters, like on Arrow, everybody has to know Oliver Queen.
Oh
is
yeah,
the
everyone
Arrow,
by
like,
far knows now.
It's been in the
so-
news like 12 times. Like,
Right.
if you look, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but like
Right.
basically they try to hide these identities, and I don't know how anybody buys it. They should make it a little bit more believable, but Flash is actually the one that you can actually really hide it because he's kind of all covered and he can,
Yeah,
you
and he
know,
can shake his face.
yeah, he can go all fuzzy when he needs to. So
Yeah, and his costume hides his face pretty well.
Yeah,
so
he's
you
pretty
can't-
well
you
hidden,
can't know that it's Barry. Unlike, I mean, you won't know Arrow either because he's covered, but at the same time, he's like you said, he's been on the news so many
All the
times.
time.
It's crazy
yeah.
how many times, and every time they're shocked. They're like, Oliver
my
Queen is
God.
like,
he's like, I thought
how
we've
did
already
they
proved
know?
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what happens with Barry. I think that now that he's in a superhero prison,
So
a
weird.
metahuman
Metahuman
prison,
prison.
then things
I-
are about to get real.
It really
and
is.
then at some point, see, I don't know why, but I keep Amunet probably working for DeVoe too. Like I feel like
Probably.
all
I mean,
this comes back to him.
She's a strong, independent woman, though. I don't think she's working for anybody, to be
Yeah,
honest.
she kind of runs her own like
She-
business. Gets
she's
all
a
that
badass.
money.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I did kind of. I think DeVoe's. I don't, maybe she's not working directly for him, but I think he's definitely involved with that. And
But I think this is good. Like, if he does get sold, obviously it's not a good thing.
yeah.
Right.
But, like, Caitlin, or I should say Killer Frost, knows every single detail
Yeah.
about her.
Yeah.
So this could be kind of in their advantage.
Yeah.
Well, now it's also interesting too. Not to drag this out more, but how's like the rest of Team Flash gonna find this out? Like,
Probably
Speed
through
Force?
Caitlin. Caitlin will find out
Speed
somehow.
Force.
Speed Force.
Yeah, Speed
Yeah, I mean,
Force.
they'll hack. I think they mentioned that they're still trying to hack the cameras at the prison.
oh,
They
that's
hadn't done
right.
that
Yeah,
yet.
Cisco
they haven't
still
done
So
it
doing
yet.
maybe a
yeah.
preview that's
Hack
going to
harder.
happen.
Or they
Yeah.
might realize that Barry is nowhere to be found in
Yeah.
the prison.
Yeah.
So
Oh
they're,
no, that's right. In the trailer, the guy that captures Barry says to Iris, "Is like, oh,
Oh
he's
yes,
not
don't worry,
available."
he's not here.
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
He's not available to talk right now.
But I
he's in
think-
the best hands, though.
Yeah,
It's
but I
like,
think
whoa.
Iris will
They'll
figure
figure
it
it
out.
out.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's what will
Yeah.
happen there.
Because she knows Barry too well to like just
Yeah.
not do anything.
Yeah, it's very
regardless.
suspicious.
Like she's trying to show up every day and see him. And
Yeah,
all of a
and
sudden
he's not there.
Yeah.
This season of Flash, I have to say, is
It's pretty
really
good.
It's really good.
Yeah, I
think.
like they focus so much
'cause
on
there's-
speedsters and everything before. I like that they're doing
Right,
something
and there's a lot
different.
going on in this one. And yes, the only downside is I would say obviously the last few episodes haven't had the Flash, but I mean they're getting there. He's still using his powers as he broke that guy out of jail. But
He went in the time it takes. I would say maybe 5 seconds for Cameron to do a sweep.
you're still fixed.
No, I'm
on
not even
that.
kidding. Like he went.
Not
he,
even 5
He
seconds. I think
phased.
Oh,
He
yeah.
phased through the prison. Went to
Yep.
China. Was it
China,
China? It was
Yep,
China.
China.
And then came back. Like Barry's never gone that fast. I don't know what's
Right.
happening, but like I hope they keep some of these rules, still relevant when he gets out of prison because Barry's like comic book
Crazy.
Flash right now.
Oh, yeah, he's
Oh
crazy
yeah,
fast.
totally.
And I like to see that, but
He's like
I hope
peak
when some
performance.
guy like shows up on the street and they're having a fight that Barry just doesn't get his butt
Like, I'm
kicked
not
for
fast
no
enough.
reason.
Like, like,
It's like no, you just went to like you can go to China, have a
You
tea, and
just
come
legit
back.
went to China.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Oh god.
So that's the Flash.
We
That's
love
the
the Flash.
We do love the Flash
We
here.
love.
So on to Black Lightning.
Black Lightning. Okay.
I have so many feels about this show.
So many
What-
feels.
What kind of
Like
feels?
what?
You go ahead.
Negative
Okay.
and positive. Okay, I'm like 50-50. So
I get that. I feel the same.
First-
I feel that.
first, I have to address. I'm sorry, I'm bringing politics into this, but the Black Lightning got overrun, I should say, by the State of the Union.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
when
so-
I was recording Black Lightning, because yes, I do record them, so I avoid commercials.
Yeah, same.
All I saw was Trump, and I was like, really?
Yeah. But what's annoying is that I think like in LA, because they show their
They were
shows,
still on- yeah,
it was still
it
on
was
there,
still
so
on.
it really affected us on the East
Right,
Coast
because they're
as
3
well.
hours behind. So
Yeah.
I
So
used the CW app, so I just
Yeah,
ended up
so
I
watching
had to
it.
do
I had
that
to
and
watch
go
I
it.
didn't
online.
see it live.
But yeah, so this episode was intense,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Intense, but not at the same time.
Yeah.
That's what
It's an intense drama. I don't know if it's really a superhero show or it's going to become one later, but it's really a family
It is.
drama or like almost like a social family drama. Like it's and I don't hate it. Like I said, I want to be like I'm not into this because it doesn't fit into the CW superhero world for me.
But it doesn't. I feel like
It doesn't.
So
But
this
I'm
is-
gonna give it time to get there. But like it's acted so well that I find myself. Like
Yeah.
if I'm not interested in it, but if it's done really well, I can watch it, and that's kind of what's going on with Black Lightning. Like everybody's really good, but I don't really know what it's.
Yeah, the acting
building
is good.
towards.
It's just, I mean, I don't know who the writers are,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not grasping enough in
So-
order
Yeah,
for me
it
to
is-
be like,
it's a s-
oh, what a great episode.
It's a slow burn, big time.
Yeah.
I talked to Sonic about it on like Wednesday, I think. I think the reason we feel the way we do, because we love, Arrow, Flash, Legend, Supergirl, obviously. And I feel like us three, we love the sci-fi elements of everything.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
this doesn't, he has lightning powers and stuff, but it doesn't really have any sci-fi elements. It's kind of just like, like you said, it's kind of just like a family drama,
Yeah. Gang related. And
gang
it's
related
not,
and
yeah, it's not like portals and
Right.
other dimensions and
Yeah.
Earths and like stuff like that. And I think you're right. That's why we don't
yeah.
grasp more towards
And
that.
you don't get a lot of Black Lightning suits up like 5,
Right,
10
and
minutes.
this is another-
Yeah, not even.
This is another thing I wrote down.
It's not in it a
and
lot.
he still gets people killed.
Yeah.
Like,
In this episode, I wrote this down too. I put no fighting ? Because he didn't fight anyone.
Yeah.
He went to the rally because he knew that that was a hot spot for someone to attack, and
Yep.
he did the electric shield, which was really cool.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
But like that was it. Like if you look back, he doesn't.
He
there's
just
no
stands.
fighting.
Yeah, he stands there.
After that, that's it. There's no fighting, and that's it. Like
Yeah.
the one of the daughter's boyfriends now might not walk again.
Yeah,
I know. I
This-
felt so
Khalil-
bad.
Khalil-
He got paralyzed.
Khalil,
probably.
yeah.
I
He's-
mean,
I
like-
felt so bad because TMI, but like they were supposed to have sex, and now I was like,
Oh
I know.
yeah,
it ruined
love
it.
I
Oh.
love the daughter
I-
being like, all right, mom, dad,
Yeah, we're
I
doing
think
it
I'm ready.
Saturday."
I think I'm ready.
I
to-"
loved and hated that because I kind of thought like if you had that kind of relationship with your kid and they said that, it's almost kind of admirable, in a way.
Oh, that's
It'd
what
be
I'm
like,
saying.
yeah, for
wow.
When
sure.
she said that,
But I
like
just can
as a
never
pa-
imagine saying anything like that.
Like if I said
Yeah.
that to my parents at her age, my parents would be like, excuse me,
Yeah.
you're doing what?
Yeah.
I just
hell
love
no.
how Jefferson and the mother were just so stunned. They were like,
They didn't even know how to react.
Yeah.
because
That
it's
was
like,
funny.
okay, I'm proud that you came to us, but also like, don't.
And that led to Khalil and Jefferson having
That
the kind of conversation that a principal should never have with a student.
That's right.
Never, ever.
I was watching it and I was like, this is really weird that they would go to this
I wasn't
place. But
even-
he's like, when you take a shower, how do you take a shower?
Oh my God, that was so
And
awkward.
weird,
It all
dude.
led up to a joke about toe fungus
Athlete's
and
foot.
Oh,
athlete's
that was
foot. And I was
gross.
like, that's really.
I didn't even think
You
about
want
that.
your
I was like,
athlete's
yeah,
foot all
cut
over
that
that
out.
area.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking
That
about
was
it, but like,
really
yeah,
weird.
Jefferson's still the principal. I was thinking of it like
I mean,
the
he was
dad, and I
talking
was
it
like,
as the dad, and obviously he knows that it's
Right,
the
but
father.
that's
But
like-
at the same time, you're still at school.
It's brazen,
so
and it's the kind of
It's-
thing that
He-
you just would never want to
No.
say. I would never even joke about talking
ever,
about that. and it
ever.
was-
But,
That was just really
yeah, so
weird.
I mean, this episode really got dark fast with that whole Khalil now and the preacher. They
Khalil
said
will walk again. I'm calling it right
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
totally.
yeah,
Maybe in
probably.
2
Oh, yeah,
episodes.
totally.
Yeah.
he'll walk again. The preacher they said will be all right. So how
Yeah.
did the shot like it hit the preacher?
It
went
hit like
through him?
it went through him and then hit
Jeez.
him. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was a
Um,
sniper rifle that
Yeah.
Yeah.
the girl was firing.
Which also Tobias said take Black Lightning out, and
Yeah.
then
She completely missed.
Yeah.
Do you think she missed, or she was just like
I think she missed on purpose.
okay?
You think
Also,
so?
she
I
think
she
so.
annoys me so much.
Oh yeah, she doesn't talk.
Oh,
Well, she-
and Tobias too. Like you said it last week, how you
can't
don't like
stand him.
Tobias.
No.
He's. I mean,
He's
Well,
not
he's-
a good
I-
villain.
I'd like someone to be if they're doing the character well, even if I don't like the character, I can get by with it. But
Right.
the guy's not doing a good job.
No,
It's,
no.
Well,
it's
also-
bad.
Bad
Yeah.
acting.
Another
Yeah.
thing we learned this week is that he's technically not the main
Yeah,
villain.
Lady Eve.
Lady Eve.
Yes,
is
she's the head,
technically in
yeah.
She's
charge. and
Jill
then-
Scott, which really surprised
Yeah.
me. The
Right,
the,
from,
singer actress.
Yeah.
Why did I get married? Tyler Perry.
Oh, God,
Those are on.
yeah.
I like
Oh,
those.
yeah, yeah.
Look at
Those are
you.
fun movies.
But
Just
no,
pulling
I
out the
like
movies
her
again.
as in charge of like the head honcho.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you
she was
think
interesting.
It's
She was
Tobias
very
the
interesting.
whole time, but now you have Lady
got a
Eve,
boss.
and he's
Uh-huh.
got a boss, right?
Yeah.
And it's
I can't get into him. Like I just
No, I
he's not a good villain. He's not a great actor. I'm sorry.
No, he's not good. And Lala, who I didn't love, but is certainly
he
a
was
much
great.
better actor.
Oh yeah.
I was
I'm
hoping
like, bring
maybe
it back
he would
from the
take
dead.
over. Yeah, anything
Bring a
could
little
happen.
sci-fi to it.
But I really hope that Tobias is not like the big bad, and that they
No.
get the Jill Scott, Lady Eve, because
Yeah.
well,
I'm not
it
feeling
will
this
be
guy at
it
all.
will be Lady Eve at some point.
At
and
some
then-
point, but who knows when?
But I mean, you
Yeah.
nailed it last week, and you said this is like Luke Cage. I mean,
Yeah.
this
oh
is
yeah, totally.
almost
Yeah.
exactly like
That's
Luke
what I'm
Cage.
saying.
Like the big bad woman behind the main
Yep.
henchman, who you think is the
Yep.
original villain.
right?
You know,
it
it's,
all starts off with a gang.
it is
and stuff
exactly
like
the
that.
same. Yeah.
Well, Marvel and DC does that. though.
Except you don't have a Claire.
yeah.
That's right. The Claire,
big
Claire
difference, yeah.
aspect.
The Claire.
I mean, and also I'll give credit because on Black Lightning he actually can like get hurt. Luke Cage, it's like okay, he can just walk around.
Luke Cage did get hurt, but we
with like
we
the
won't get into that.
super bullets and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, again, not a lot of fighting, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, let's talk about how now the oldest daughter has superpowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not loving that either.
No,
it's all about breathing. That's what she. That's what
yeah,
right?
that's right.
I was like, really? Because if I control my breathing, I can toss around a washing machine.
I think it's in the genes,
It's
which
in the-
you were
right,
talking
obviously.
about.
Yeah.
We don't know how Black Lightning became Black Lightning.
No.
We still don't
yet.
know.
Still don't know.
But
Still don't
I'm
know.
guessing it's genetic, or else the coincidences are just amazing.
What, you think Jefferson's dad had it? Or like,
No, I think maybe they're prone to it, or so. Who knows?
Who knows?
But
Who knows?
But yeah, I don't know. How did she? I love how she's just like, oh, it's my breathing, and then that's it. I was like,
Yeah,
how
she's
did
like,
you
"Just
figure that
breathe."
out?
Well, and they're setting it up now. She's at the comic book, or she's at the bookstore, and they're like, "Oh, costumes! Jeez, I do
Cosplay.
like costumes."
yeah.
And I was
And then
like,
she
"No,
dressed
no."
up and-
I've never done a cosplay. I actually would love to. I think that would be so much fun. I might be the oldest person there.
No,
there's a lot
yeah.
of people.
Yeah.
Like Comic-Con.
Oh no,
they do-
Comic-Con's a whole different animal in itself.
Right.
That's not really cosplay. It is to a certain point, but
Well,
it's not like
yeah.
a party where you go like where
Oh,
she
you're talking
was.
about like a party. And
Well,
going
yeah,
to-
she was at like a
okay.
club.
Yeah,
oh
but-
yeah, that was
yeah.
like a fantasy.
That was like a cosplay
Yeah.
club
yeah.
night.
I kept waiting
which-
for foam to like rain down on everybody too,
Right,
because
she
it was
was,
very
like,
had that vibe. yeah.
dancing with the girl and,
And
the
then-
like lawyer. Oh, is she a lawyer? The ex-girlfriend now.
I don't
She was
know.
some sort of
Yeah, she was
But
something
yeah,
like
they-
that.
they-
I
lawyer
don't
or something.
remember,
I don't
but-
know.
They
but she's
break
like,
up. That's
yeah.
another thing that happens.
Well, you didn't get really attached to her anyway. So.
Yeah,
No,
keep it
um,
casual.
Keep it casual. Yeah, but I like that whole cosplay scene because it's like
Her cat outfit. She was Catwoman
yeah,
in her cat outfit.
yeah, she's a cat outfit. But it's like it's a place where you can be someone else besides yourself, which
Yeah.
I like.
And now
I like that
they're
aspect.
So
I do.
they'll-
I think
yeah.
it's cool.
they'll end up fighting together as father daughter, and
I kind of hope not.
it's gonna happen.
I know, it's
That's
just
a
like-
slam dunk prediction. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
100%, 100%.
It is. Although I'm very nervous to see if this show will be canceled or not.
You think so? I
I
don't
have
know
a
what the
feel-
viewers are for.
I haven't seen any of the ratings, but I just feel like after episode 3, I'm still like, what's going on? Like
And
what?
what I think is something they could have done, like I kind of admire it for some of the bold choices it's doing, but it's not alluding to any of the other shows at all.
No.
It's not referencing them.
No.
And I think if it did
Well-
that, then I would kind of perk up and be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
Well-
so then there is a flat. They said like, oh, there's other superheroes, but because you're black, you're not getting the respect that you deserve. That's really the only indication that they've had that there's kind of other stuff going on. But
Other stuff, yeah. Well, wait, have they mentioned anything about like the Flash?
the
or
Flash,
anything?
Arrow,
No?
nobody, yeah.
I mean, that'll happen. I mean, we're 3 episodes in. I'm almost over halfway through Supergirl. They don't mention any of the other heroes.
Well,
No,
'cause
but
that's
the
not the
Flash
same
comes to visit Supergirl.
Yeah, they're not even in the same universe.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
they're
she's
not.
on a different Earth. I forget the
They're
number.
all on friggin' different Earths.
I forget
Yeah.
forget the number. It's like Earth 15 or something that she's on.
Sure.
Sure.
Sure, what? Yeah,
Or
I don't
16,
know.
something like that.
Yeah, but
yeah.
what
Don't
what
worry
verse is
about
Arrow
the
on?
numbers. Yeah, yeah.
Well, Arrow
Felicity,
and Flash and Legend. Well,
They're
not
on.
Legends.
They're
on
the
Earth
same.
1.
Okay.
Technically,
Yeah.
that's what
Technically.
I love how they have like the balls to say, "Hey, we're Earth 1." All right.
I
and
know,
like Harry's
But
Earth
yeah,
2.
like, we
I thought they
win.
were gonna say like relative to everybody else, we're Earth Prime, Earth
Yeah.
1, but they're just like, no, we're
Alpha.
Earth 1. I was like, this is really like
Just
the
call it
best
Earth.
timeline. Yeah, yeah.
We're
So-
on Earth.
Should be
I don't-
52.
I don't think it's gonna get
X,
canceled.
Y, Z.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna get canceled just because I feel like this is what the CW is gonna do now. They're gonna come out with a different superhero show every year.
Yeah.
And
You think they're gonna keep
Oh, I
doing
don't-
it? That's not the plan, is it?
I don't think
Because I
so.
feel like
I
I
could
feel like
see-
Black Lightning is pushing it with how many shows. I mean, think about
oh,
it. That's
for
a lot.
us, yeah, we have to watch 5 shows now at the
No,
same
that
time.
part doesn't bother me. Let's be real here. I love my TV.
It's a
Yeah.
lot,
But
though. Go
if
ahead.
they come out with another superhero show, it would have to be like on a Friday night. When else are you gonna do it? Wednesday,
Well, they
but
could do Wednesday.
no, it's Riverdale on Wednesday.
Riverdale. I don't know. I mean,
Hey, that technically is a comic.
I only know that from the commercials, but
It's a comic book.
Cole
Yeah.
Sprouse is in it from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. That's
I
the
love it.
only way. I
Sweet
know
Life
that.
on Deck.
Sweet Life on Deck too.
I'm lost. on
Chris
that
has
one.
no
No, that's
idea.
okay. But no, if they were to have another super show, it would be Fridays. I
Yeah.
feel like.
Yeah.
But
I
then
mean,
again, I don't know what DC character they could pull out now. That's
Well, I didn't know
that's
they could pull out
part of-
Black Lightning though too.
True,
So.
that's true.
Wouldn't it be
And-
so
and-
cool to have like a Batman, like a real kind of Batman
Like a real
show?
Batman.
You could never do it because the expectations be too high. But
Right.
I would
Wait.
love to
No,
see.
and they already have Gotham, so they're not gonna.
Gotham.
Yeah,
They're not gonna do
I don't know what
It'd be a
Gotham
lot.
is.
They try to stay away from like the I don't know, like the AAA superheroes, I guess you could
Yeah.
say. Like everyone says Arrow's like a dumbed down version of Batman.
Which
and-
is so wrong, but
yeah, but well,
that's a great way to put it.
yeah.
a lot of
dumbed
people
down.
have said
Not really.
that. It's not just me,
Yeah.
but like
He's like Batman without the charisma.
well, I mean, in terms of the canceling thing, I know this is obviously biased because it's CW, but like CW has those commercials where it shows all the reviews like best superhero show.
I feel like they
now,"
do that for everything, though.
right,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's why I'm just like, is it like I don't know. So I
Even
mean,
though it's technically not a superhero show.
Yeah, it's
That's
a
what
guy
I'm
in a
saying. It's
a guy
like-
in a suit.
Yeah.
Although
We-
his power comes from him though, so maybe he does have some.
Yeah, it's like
his
a-
something going
anger.
on.
I think
Yeah.
it's the anger that like.
And
it's the breathing.
I'll touch on it real quick. I don't like the look of the suit. The suit looks
Oh,
really,
really?
goofy to me. Like
I
if
like
I,
the
if I
suit.
saw it, I'd be like, it doesn't. Like it's all kind of like neon, and I don't like how
Yeah.
the lightning bolts are kind of like faded. It needs
yeah,
to
they're
have
like-
like a
and
much
it's
more
also
sharper
isn't it
edge.
like blue and yellow?
Well, exactly. It's
or-
like could you
black or
imagine?
something.
Could you imagine fighting this guy? Like he's trying to like hide somewhere,
It's
and
like
you just
neon.
see this like
And he sees
neon
the
like
neon.
behind the bushes or like in the box. Like you just see like this like neon glow.
But,
Like, well, I guess I know where he is.
But yeah, the suit works in the way, not to go to a different but is the way Spider-Man's suit works. It like controls his power.
Yeah,
it
does
does the
focuses
Yeah,
it,
webs
yeah, and I
differently
think
stuff
they're
like that.
updating the suit as they
Yeah.
go too,
Um,
which they did in this episode.
Yeah,
Again,
the
we-
little
we-
Alfred character.
I know, right?
But
I
again,
love him, though.
We don't know how he got his powers. Okay, I'm still mad about that. We don't know how he became friends with this Taylor guy who is like an Alfred now.
Peter.
Yeah, you won't
And
know.
part
I
of
don't
the
think that's part of the origin story
Yeah.
somehow because
It's
he's
just-
like the only white guy there.
Yeah,
That's it, yeah,
It's one
and
of
then-
the Kingsman shop.
Yeah, I love that.
So I mean, I think the moral of the story is we like sci-fi and there's really no.
We
and-
do, but-
and the fighting, like I said,
There's not enough
There was
fighting.
no fight scene last episode.
Yeah.
That's the big thing I got.
I mean,
from it.
besides the big ass bazooka. That,
You don't count the family fight as a fight, like the family drama as a fight.
No.
the verbal fights.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
yeah.
I don't count that. I don't count the athlete's foot argument either.
That was so.
So
was-
awkward.
Yeah.
Imagine your principal coming up to you.
No, I was
No,
watching that and I was like, I
no.
really cannot believe they even tried to go there for that kind of stuff. It was
It
so
was
weird.
I was like, what is this guy talking? And then when he leaves, Jefferson like gives a little smirk. He's like, yeah.
He's
I
like,
just-
yeah,
just had
I
that
told
come."
him. I told him. I was like,
my
oh,
God.
yeah, you told him. All right.
Yeah.
Ooh,
But
wow,
yeah,
we
so
just,
it was just an interesting episode, and I will give it more time. I'm not gonna give up
Yeah,
on
me
it.
too.
So.
Me too. I don't
Oh,
hate
yeah, we'll
it. I'm
still
just not
watch it.
compelled by it.
We'll still watch it.
We'll still
I mean,
watch
they'll,
it.
they'll probably CW will give the rest of this season, obviously, and then
Yeah.
over the
I mean,
summer
I'm
they'll
sure it's
figure
signed
out.
on for like 22 episodes. So,
Wow, that's a lot.
yeah, but one minor thing that I have to point out is when Tobias and that girl is sitting in the car,
Mhm.
and he's saying like, "Oh, I thought Black Lightning was dead," and then it was just like, "Oh, there was no like enthusiasm or
know.
anything towards that." He was just like, "Yeah, I thought it was
Everything
dead."
he
He's
says
like,
is
no, I
like the
killed
same-
this guy.
It's not. He doesn't talk monotone. He just talks in that same little voice like this, like with anything he
But
says.
it's like if someone resurfaces that you thought you killed, wouldn't you be like, "Holy
Yeah,
crap,
right.
this guy's still alive"?
Right.
He's like,
A
"Oh, Black
nemesis.
Lightning is back."
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, he's not dead."
No, honestly, when that guy talks, he really sounds like somebody, and this maybe is being harsh. He sounds like somebody that's really overwhelmed by the role he has and just is not
Yeah.
ready for it. I'm serious. Like watching
yeah,
it
I
was
mean-
almost like this guy is not ready for prime time.
Yeah.
But that's been my impression every scene.
Right.
Like Jill Scott was there, and I was interested in everything she was saying as Lady Eve for the like
Liz,
5
yeah.
minutes.
yeah,
And she was just talking
good.
about going to church, and I was like, "Oh, this is actually interesting.
Yeah.
Like, please take over."
Yeah.
which she will, I think, at one point.
Oh well,
obviously.
she's already taken over,
Yeah.
kind of, and everything. So, but yeah, so that's
That was
that's
Black
Black
Lightning.
Lightning
That was
in
the
a
feels on Black
jiffy.
Lightning.
So we are moving on.
Here we go.
Oh,
Arrow.
Arrow.
So I got.
Arrow.
So let me just say,
Chris is like, yeah, Arrow.
I watched Arrow at like midnight last night.
Did you? Yeah, I watched it pretty late last night too.
Oh well, because I record all my shows.
I
and
watched.
Yeah,
I think we were
so-
all watching at the same time.
We all
Yeah,
watched.
we all watched it. Well, I watched it because I was working late, and then I got home and I was like, "Oh crap, I have to watch
Yeah,
it
we
in
had
order
to watch it. That's
in
like the
order
ol-
to talk about it today."
That's
so
the only one I worry about. I'm
That's
like,
usually how I
need
watch Arrow. Like, oh crap, I gotta watch Arrow.
it.
No, I love Arrow. Arrow's like my
joking.
baby.
I know. I still enjoy it.
A lot was going on with this episode. And can I just going back to what I said in the first episode of Dinah? God, is she so annoying.
Oh, yeah.
She is so annoying.
So this is funny because I thought about both of you during this. So
yes,
thank you. I was like, okay, Sonig with the Dinah thing, 100% she gets so annoying.
She's
and
so
then obviously
annoying.
at the end, we'll get to that. But and then Chris, how you said last week, a triple agent for Vigilante.
Mm-hmm.
I was like there the first 10 minutes. I was like, he could definitely still be working for Caden. And then I was like, well, maybe not. And then it's like, he's not.
He's totally
He's
not.
not.
The only way he could get away from Caden was Felicity in his ear.
That was hilarious.
Bug in his ear,
Hilarious.
telling him.
And he's like, repeat after me.
All these
Right.
scientific terms or like, technological terms.
I was watching that. I was like, if he really fell for that, this guy is a complete moron. And of course, he didn't fall for it. Yeah.
No.
But I also loved like the first 5 minutes of the episode where this is basically we're watching The Dark Knight Rises because
Pretty
the
much.
city's held hostage. There's bombs
Yeah.
that are going to go off.
Yeah.
And he's
Yep.
controlling the ins and outs, which
It's
they
like
don't.
it's like Bane all
they,
over.
They don't reference that a lot. Like that's a big deal. The whole city's like on lockdown.
yeah, I
and
feel like
everything.
Yeah.
no one is
Nobody
like.
Yeah,
seems
and
to notice it.
They say at the
But
beginning.
Argus shows up. This was
Oh
too
my God,
funny.
that was funny.
Argus shows up like wet Navy SEAL,
Yeah.
like coming out, like our team is here. It's like, are your comms local? He's like, no, we're patched in.
But
and of
first of all,
course they get
Yeah.
Why would you have comms underneath the water? Like,
I don't know.
Well,
what,
I don't care if they're
hand signals,
waterproof.
you know?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like use the old seal.
Yeah.
I
it
don't
was-
know. The whole thing was, Caden has the airports, the trains.
Oh, he's got the
blah, blah,
power of
blah.
everything.
He's like, oh, well, maybe he doesn't have the shore. And then they went to the shore. I was
No,
like,
not even the shore. This
the
little
lake,
Little half of
mile
a beach.
just like a
section.
lake.
He's like, I think we found a spot where the satellite doesn't see this part of the
but
shore.
so my
Yeah.
thing is, if they did get through and it's like, oh, he's not connected through this little lake here, like, what would they do? Like, set up a comms network under the water? Like, what were they planning to do with that?
I think they were planning to come in. I mean, like the Dark Knight Rises is like an
Yeah, like-
infiltration team to come in and try to like hunt him down, which wouldn't have worked anyways. But they were just
Yeah.
trying to get some professional badasses into the city to
which
hunt down.
failed miserably.
That was dark. That Argus scene when you see all the electrocutions.
Oh
too.
no!
was
but I
like,
started
oh.
laughing when they
I
like
was
raised up
cracking
to
up.
the water.
Aw.
And
I was just
like,
laughing.
oh my
You guys
God.
are
I didn't.
dark.
I know we're bad.
It was like Jaws 2 when they like
Yeah.
electrocuted everybody. Like I didn't. How can you get invested in characters that are on the screen for 5
Yeah.
seconds before they die? I mean,
Although
it's
I
fine.
do gotta say, wardrobe. I did like their jackets.
You like
they're-
the
Argus,
yeah.
the
seal
Argus
jackets?
No, not the
jackets,
Argus jackets. The ones that Oliver and Lance were wearing.
SCPD.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, like
yeah.
the field jackets. Yeah.
Star City.
Yeah, those were cool. Actually, noticed
I
that
like
too when I was
them.
watching it. Yeah.
I was like, oh, those are new.
Yeah.
And also, it picks up. So right after that, it goes back and because Arrow does this thing where it's usually like it'll have an episode and then the next episode is a week later.
Yeah.
So he's transferred $70 million to Caden
Yep.
Which is
James.
crazy.
And they're
Crazy.
trying to liquidate money, and they're like, oh, and what's her name? Is just like, oh, go find,
Thea.
go
Just go
find it.
find some more. And
Go find
he's
some
like,
more. I love-
how am I supposed to find
Yeah,
it?
and then she's like, "Oh, you just have to push him a little." I was like,
Push
"What are
him
you
how?
trying?
Like,
You got to get him."
he's
$10
your
million.
accountant, but at the same
All
time,
part
he
of
can't
the
just
evil plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
pull money out of his
It's-
butt. But
But then most of the episode, like I said, like you were complaining about Dinah. It's the Dinah and Vincent episode, and
Yeah.
you know,
it is, which I do like because I wanted to know his backstory and their backstory, and that I think with the flashbacks did a really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did a good job.
I groaned a little bit when I saw when they were talking. They kissed. She's like, "Do you trust me?" And they kissed, and then I heard
I mean,
the,
it was cheesy.
when it was
That
a
was-
flashback.
so-
I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh no, it's
That-
a flashback episode of
when
Dinah."
because he asks her like 3 times, like, "Do you trust me though?" But like,
And, like, she
"Do you
didn't
trust
answer.
me?" When
He's
he
like,
said
yeah,
that, I
no
was
joke.
like,
Do you trust me?
Yeah.
no, like, come on. When he said that, I was like, I don't trust you right now. Like, that's when
Yeah.
I thought he was still working for Caden, but then
No.
obviously.
I actually felt like a soft spot for him. I started to like him, and of course, every time I like someone, they kill him
Right.
off.
That's what they wanted.
He
was
you to
born-
But
feel.
like, is he
Born
really
to
dead?
die.
Is he really dead?
Yeah, I mean,
That's Scream though.
I certainly
oh my
hope so.
God.
I know. I felt so bad.
Jeez. And then Lance,
I was
Lance trying to talk to Laurel.
Well,
and stuff,
we'll get
and-
to that, but,
yeah, but,
the whole Vince and Dinah story I think was good because you needed that dynamic to know exactly where they were coming
Right.
from.
yeah. We talked about it a little bit last week. Like she didn't want to have anything to do with him. You know,
Like
for
2
most of the
weeks prior.
season, and then
Yeah,
all of a
and then
sudden
you got
like
Lovey-dovey,
he
sleeping
had their
with him.
back, but I'm not buying the romance at all. I don't know
No.
where it's coming from. Like they
Yeah.
have history together, but they've moved on, and they're not very trusting. Like Dinah's not very trusting. That's why they have a whole different layer and different team now. But this guy, she's letting back into the fold. I mean, all
she has
Arrow
a-
did
she
was
has a
like
soft
monitor
spot.
them and try to find out who the mole
Right.
was. I
Pretty
mean,
quickly, she let him like back in. He's like, "Oh, he
Well, I
gave
mean,
us
like
good
he's
intel,"
attractive.
and-
They have a history. They've been sleeping together. Obviously, she'd be like, "Oh yeah, come
Yeah.
on back in
Yeah.
my bed."
And
Like,
the whole thing with
It helps.
Caden ends up saying this too, because this is what I was thinking. He's like, "Oh, you know," in the Michael Emerson voice, like, "Oh, it was very interesting why you joined, because you're a vigilante. Usually hunts
you were
bad guys."
always the
But you were an
unknown
undercover
element.
cop.
The
Yeah.
unknown element. And it's like, I thought about that too. I was like, why does he want to go after Oliver during this? Like, you're a vigilante. Like,
yeah,
Oliver goes after bad guys too. And then obviously,
Yeah,
like, Vince
they did
hated
touch on
Oliver.
that. Yeah,
yeah. For some reason, he just didn't like him at all.
it was more, I think, the mayor. He didn't like how Oliver was doing something being the mayor. And then he finds out that he's the Green Arrow and stuff. And
Yeah,
that whole thing happened.
and that whole like little argument where Oliver's like, "Can I just see you for a minute?"
I know that's
Yeah.
all. That's the Oliver
It's like
move.
so Oliver.
More better. He's better. Like
He's like-
more than shooting arrows or doing anything. Oliver is so good at
It's
taking
those, like,
people
little
aside
talks.
for a little minute. It's like,
Can I
can
talk
we
to
go
you
over
for a
here for a
minute?"
minute? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I remember they did that with
No.
Supergirl in one of the crossovers. He's like, "Yeah, could you come over here for a second?
Yeah.
Just
Oh, yeah, that's
I'm
right.
having
And
a
then-
tough time dealing with everything. Could you just not fly around and
Yeah.
stuff and
Yeah.
just stay in the
'Cause
he didn't-
warehouse?"
he
That's
didn't
like
trust
his
her.
yeah.
Right,
that's his
right.
signature move. Is just like pulling people
talk?
aside.
Pulling
can I,
back,
Can I
yeah.
just
And where
talk
they
to you?
go too, like he ended up talking to Vince. Like,
That was like around the
was
corner.
that like a lower level?
Well, that's like
of
Flash.
the-
You always go to the hallway.
The
yeah,
hallway.
the hallway,
The
like no
curvy
one else
hallway,
is gonna
yeah.
hear.
Exactly.
I want to know how long that hallway is, because there's
Just-
so many
just
scenes. Just
Depends on the conversation, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Um,
But so yeah, a lot happened in this episode. The whole two teams not telling each other about Vince.
That
was,
overlap is so stupid. Like,
Overlap.
it
It
keeps
was so
going
two
on.
stupid.
teams. the
I
two
knew as
teams.
soon as I
can't
saw
stand
that,
it.
I was like, I really think this is going to be the new standard. I'm not kidding. Like, I don't think the teams are going to get
Yeah,
back
you
together.
keep saying that.
No, I
and-
don't
They're
think
going to
so
be
either.
like the tech team, and they're going to be like the other team, and they're just
The
can't get
gung-ho
over it.
team.
Yeah, well, that's what Wild Dog said. He's like, "We got the intel, you guys got the tech. That's all why I'm here,
so
Hoss."
Yeah.
stupid.
We
I'm
got
like,
the
come
Haas
on.
intel,
So dumb.
Haas.
Haas,
Yeah.
Haas.
Nobody
That-
says Haas.
That
though.
was that wasn't scripted.
That's more unbelievable than any of the superhero elements of the show. Like,
Is the Hoss?
Haas. I've never
He
heard
calls
anybody say it.
everyone that.
Oh my god.
I do like how they brought in what's her name from Helix to help out Felicity.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I don't know
Ella-
her name, but
I don't know her name
yeah,
either.
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, she's yeah,
She was good though.
she's good. They had her in the show earlier, and I was kind of waiting for her to come back in because she was
Yeah.
kind of a big character.
Well,
for
she's
that.
always
Yeah.
in contact with Felicity.
Right.
whenever
yeah.
Felicity
And
needs
if anybody's
help.
going to help take down
It'll be her.
Yeah.
Raina James, it's that
Ra-
girl. Yeah.
Raina James. No, I thought that was pretty cool and how they cracked a code at the very end.
Yeah.
The ending was
He
the
didn't.
worst
He didn't
ending
die
possible.
for anything. Yeah, yeah.
That was so stupid.
That was a crazy ending, but
But we should talk about Laurel and how she was following Lance.
And
for,
Captain Lance, whatever he
Yeah,
is now,
Captain.
Commandant Lance, so quick with his selfie game that
I
he was
know.
able to
Dude,
catch the
that
canary.
would never happen. Like,
First
I
of all,
saw that.
my phone would freeze.
Yeah.
Because it's not fast
Not
enough.
Lance,
And
not
then
Lance.
First of all-
by the time you turn the camera to to the selfie mode,
Yeah.
right at it.
Oh, he
Like,
was
first
ready
of all,
for it. I was
flash,
impressed.
Flashlight quickness. It wasn't blurry. He
No.
just, bam. Like
Yeah.
what? Like
Well, also, like she's just she's following him like around the corner later when he meets her in the warehouse, and she
why
gets
did
like.
she like went into this?
Well,
random
because
room?
it's I know, and then she gets like an Omnimax like slideshow of like, oh, this was my Laurel, and she was really just a darling.
Which I
and
mean, which I thought was cute because
was.
he's trying to get her to be the Laurel again.
it was just such an
and-
artificial setup.
Oh,
It was
of
like
course.
it was like an episode of
Don't
The
you-
Bachelor where like they go like inside some area
Like,
and
I
every little
under-
trinkets put away.
I understand like he's trying to like get her to be good and stuff, but don't you think it's a little unhealthy that he's trying to get her to be like his Laurel again?
Well,
Like,
no, I think he's just trying to show her that there's a good version. I mean, it's definitely perverse
Yeah.
because he
Right.
was kind of saying that, like, oh, it's just like my Laurel. But I think he's
Right.
just trying to show her, like, oh, you can be a hero. But
And I think she, like I said previously, she will turn
Yeah.
to be that
Yeah.
Laurel
No
again
doubt, no
because
doubt.
you could tell when Kate and James was like, "You need to kill him," and she
Yeah.
was very hesitant.
yeah, she was
in doing
upset about it.
That
yeah.
scream
Very
like,
upset. Oh my
hurt
God.
me. Like that was like
Yeah.
imagine that. Like ow.
Well, yeah, and that's how he technically, quote unquote, dies.
You really don't think he's?
I don't know.
I do.
You
hope
never
he's dead.
know. You never know.
Why do
People,
you-
people
I don't
always
like
come
him.
back.
I don't like Dinah very much, and I don't like
No,
Vincent. I
I'm
didn't like
so
their
sick of
story.
Dinah.
I began to not like Dinah in this episode after everything.
And
you
it's
said
so bad
last
because
week.
she's a great character, but like,
Yeah, I used to like her. That's what I don't like. What they've gone
I'm
with her.
so horrible. Like, I laughed when she was stuck under the beam,
Aw.
Yeah, I know.
and like,
I did too. A little
no
bit,
one
yeah.
was helping her, but like, they all went to like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
she was
yeah.
just like, help me, and I was just like, sucker.
The one thing I did like about Dinah is when she was like, "I'm gonna go help Vincent." All right, and if this was Felicity, if this was
Yeah.
Diggle,
That was
you guys
true.
would be over there, and,
Yeah.
and that was like, yeah, she's
That's
right.
very true.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I don't love Oliver is because his standards are always changing. When like it's like we have to do this because this is the
Yeah.
person we really care about. Oh no, I made the tough call. And we're not going to help the person.
That's
Like,
because it benefits him. If
right. He's very selfish, and I thought
He is
Dinah
very
doing that, I was
selfish.
like, yeah, Dinah nailed it for that.
And
But,
She
his
did.
in Oliver's justification for this was like, the bomb's gonna move. We need all the manpower we need, and then it was just him and Diggle. If they all were there, they probably could have found the bomb. But
even though it was
I mean,
strapped,
also,
it was
though,
strapped
they,
to
but
so
they
many
wouldn't
people.
be a coherent team, in
Right.
the spiritual
Well,
sense if they were all working
but who
together.
knows-
The trust is just too broken. I'm
another
not being
th-
serious.
and
The reason for them being
I'm not
split still
being-
makes no sense.
It
No
doesn't make
sense.
sense at
Besides
all.
having a different
No.
layer.
perspective on whatever.
Oliver's
Yeah.
apologized, and it's like, come
like
on.
twice now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
That's-
yeah.
And
That's a
even
lot.
went at the very end of the episode, even went to
It
Dinah's
gets me
loft.
so
Another
upset.
apartment.
Another loft,
It,
yeah.
it gets me so upset thinking about how these teams are just divided.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
it's. Ugh.
I have to go back to season 1 and 2 where it was just him, Diggle, and
Yeah. Yep.
Felicity. I
Remember
really
that?
like
well,
that.
that's what it's kind of is on the other
It
side.
is.
Original
Right.
team original team Arrow,
Team
and
Arrow, yeah.
that it's nice to see that. But at the end of this episode, they showed the footage that fooled Caden James.
Oh my god, how
like,
stupid!
is this
Yeah.
guy an idiot?
We
Like,
need
has he
to-
never
This guy-
seen a movie?
First of all, Arrow is in the dark, and the shooting was in the daylight. If
well,
you saw
yeah,
that,
but it's just
The-
like I was watching
it
it,
was-
like this cannot be what this leads up to. But I was also happy because, like I said, we don't really like. I love Michael Emerson as an actor.
Yes,
he's
yes,
one of
Yes,
my
he's
favorite
awesome.
parts
Caden
of
James
a lot
would
of
get
things.
it.
Also, what I said last week, like, is he really the main villain? This
Exactly,
guy who
that's
what-
that's
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying.
That's what I loved about it. I was like, okay, there's somebody else
Another-
pulling the strings.
There's
I don't know.
another villain that wanted Caden to go after Oliver.
who could now be in that?
In
Like,
the
is
Cabal
another?
thing? Or is like a different?
You mean one of the members that's in his
Yeah,
group
yeah,
there?
yeah. Isn't that what Oliver said? Like he is.
Yeah, somebody else is pulling the strings that has access to him, but
Right.
I kind of hope it isn't one of those people because
think it
I
is.
like Curse Acevedo, the drug dealer guy.
Yeah, the monster.
but I don't see him as being the big bad
No,
guy.
I
It
think
could be
so.
the Russian one, the Bratva.
Yeah, Anatoly.
Yeah, I love him,
He's pretty
I don't
funny.
know.
but I hate him evil.
I,
I
feel
mean,
like
like-
it's someone we haven't even.
That's what I'm thinking.
known
It's
yet.
somebody
yeah,
we
it
don't
has to be
know,
someone
or-
that we
Because
haven't met yet.
This person not only fudged that footage, whoever it is, fudged the picture of Oliver. Remember early in the season that was like, oh, Oliver
Right.
Queen
Yeah,
is
that-
the green.
right.
Arrow.
right,
He
right.
did that. They did that too.
They did
Right,
that too.
so
So it
that-
has to be someone that Oliver is
Right.
connected to that he doesn't know
Yeah.
of yet.
And this
Yeah,
is something that I
Felicity,
was
probably.
like wondering the whole season.
Yeah.
I was like, is Caden really like the whole thing here?
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
Nope.
no,
No.
nope.
No, I don't
No.
think so. I really don't.
Yeah.
But that whole ending scene where Oliver is trying so hard to tell Dinah about
Oh,
the
I
news
thought-
that he got, and Dinah's just like whining and whining, which I get. I understand. She wants
was-
a revenge
She
kick.
was
upset.
crazy. She went.
But
She
she
wants
was
a
upset.
revenge
Yeah,
kick,
but now she wants
which
to
I
kill,
get.
which is Oliver. But it's from seasons ago.
Right.
But that's basically
which is
season
Oliver.
one Oliver.
But
yeah.
at the same time, Oliver was he was being a pussy.
How so?
Literally. Sorry, I'm
What do
saying
you-
it
no,
again.
No, but how
He-
so?
Because he didn't respond fast enough. Usually
Well,
Oliver's
she
like
was-
information, and he's like
Right.
telling him
she
right
was
away.
like going at. I thought honestly she was
Yeah,
going
but
to
he
start
could have
fighting
been-
him. Honestly,
Oh yeah.
she had a gun in her hand. I'm pretty sure. Remember, because
Oh, really?
she goes.
Did she?
She picks it up when she goes to the door.
Oh
she
yeah, just because
opens
she
it.
was
Yeah.
didn't know who was at the door. Yeah.
No, but
Um,
I'm just saying from that point of view, I feel like Oliver would have said his piece, even
Yeah.
though she was yelling at him, because that's
She-
what
yeah.
Oliver would do.
So now she's going crazy.
Yeah, I saw the preview for the next one. I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's all about her and her revenge kick, and I'm surprised that she hasn't even shot Oliver Queen yet.
And now it's
she
like,
has a list of people
She has-
to
yeah,
avenge.
she's
the
got her
list
own
like
list.
season one.
Yeah.
Well, now it's like I bet this opens up that she might go with whoever's the hacker that hacked the photos now and the video.
No, I think she's trying to kill Laurel. Is basically what's happening.
Yeah, I
because
mean,
even though she should go after Caden James because that's the person who told Laurel to kill
Yeah.
Vince. So I don't know how that's going to plan out.
And-
I mean, we'll
and-
wait till next week. But
Yeah, but killing Laurel's like a season event.
It's not going to happen. She's
set
already died once.
Well, I'm saying you
Right.
can set your watch by it. Killing
Right.
Laurel is just that just happens, and then she'll be back.
The other thing is, I wrote this down too, is like it's become kind of what we said that Flash isn't, in that the main villain is in every single episode and it's not a different thing. I get it, the city's on net lockdown now, but like this whole season has kind of been like the same type of episode, especially these last few episodes where it's like, they're all right, they have to go after the bomb. Oh, something happened. They can't get the bomb now.
Or Katie
Like,
James
oh,
is
something-
always in the picture.
Right, and that's
Yeah.
why this season of Arrow, I mean, we talked about it last week, but like, it's kind of just like, I guess.
I mean, they did the same thing with Prometheus. He was in every scene, but you didn't know he was Prometheus then.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess the middle and early parts of the season, there were other villains too. I don't know. I just see every episode now is it's kind of just the same type of thing with this bomb that probably isn't even going to be used.
No, and I think like we were saying that Caden James is the main villain.
Right.
I think they're kind
Yeah.
of like it seems
They might
like
be turning now.
right. It
into-
seems like they're focusing on the main villain the whole time when it turns out that there's somebody else even around him or somebody manipulating him.
Yeah.
Right.
Which if they know how to talk tech talk, they seems like you could easily do.
Hack
I mean,
better.
Yeah.
wouldn't it be like weird and cool at the same time if it was Felicity's dad?
Felicity's dead. I'm still.
They bring him back in.
Just
like-
bring him back as now he's evil again, and
That- I
like
mean-
because he's like the #1 hacker besides Caden James anyway.
He
so
did come back for the wedding. Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love how that was just
Just,
normal.
like, random.
Like
Well, that's great. I mean, they had those actors actually come back and.
Yeah, I think
Real-
that's
I thought that
cool.
was cool, yeah.
I'm just waiting for Malcolm Merlin to just show up again.
I
yeah,
know,
what's
I
he
know.
up to?
I'm just
Ever
waiting.
since
I want
Legends, like-
Eobard to come in somehow on one of these
Eobard.
shows because I miss him like crazy.
Eobard. I was just like, oh. But yeah, so that's the wrap on Arrow, right?
Yeah, Diana's gonna go crazy apparently.
Yeah.
and
So,
there's
well, I
there's
guess we'll
another
have to wait.
villain.
Yeah,
That's
we'll
the
have to
big
wait
ones.
next week to see exactly what
Yeah,
Dinah
we still
does.
have to wait a couple more weeks for Legends.
Legends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
that's
couple more
weeks.
February 12th that comes back.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, a couple weeks, and then we'll have 5 shows to talk about
I
instead
know.
of
Oh, yes.
4.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I'll
Guys,
catch-
we have no lives. We just watch
No.
TV.
no, it's a lot. Yeah.
No, it's a lot. But so we're wrapping it up. Thank
Yeah.
you for listening to episode 2, which I think we should call Villains versus Heroes.
Sure.
This
I really think so because it was all about villains this whole time
that's true.
around.
Yeah, that's the focus at least, and
Yeah.
I don't know, I hope a lot of these villains get a little bit better because I'm not happy with all of them. But I
None
think
of
we're
them?
getting
Well, you
we're
like-
getting indications that some of the villains are there's
You
bigger
like
villains
Defoe,
above
though.
them. I like Defoe, but I'm talking about more like Arrow and
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Best
we'll
season
see.
out of all the shows. Quickly, go ahead. What do you think?
Oh,
right
jeez,
now?
I have no idea.
out of all the shows.
Out of all the shows
I
right
just
now.
got finished watching Legends, so Legends season 2 I think was
I
maybe
like-
the best
yeah.
season of any of the shows.
No,
I've
I'm
seen.
talking about like this year's seasons, like Flash
Oh,
season. I would say Flash.
Flash, yeah.
Yeah, Flash.
All
For
right.
sure.
No, well, that's it.
But
Flash
anyway, you
minus
can
Iris.
find us on SoundCloud. We are called
iTunes.
Vigilante-Verse.
Yep, we're easy to find. It's on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, podcast, Vigilante-Verse, and you'll find us.
Yeah, so I'll put a link up on when we do our Instagram, we'll have a link up on that
Yeah,
as well.
you can see our pretty faces. We're all wearing
Yeah.
superhero
Well, yeah,
shirts
we're all wearing
today.
today.
superhero
That's
shirts
right.
today. So thank you for joining us. And again, we will be back next week,
Yes.
episode 3. Can't
That's right.
wait. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Ciao.
All right.
Don't fail your
Bye.
city.